This is a very important question you should be asking yourself, and probably the reason you're losing money playing PrizePicks. Are you placing the right PrizePicks bets in your slips? What if I told you there were certain PrizePicks squares out there that have an edge against PrizePicks that you could place in your slips to give yourself the best chance at profiting long-term playing PrizePicks? Well, you're in luck, because I'm going to show you guys how to find those profitable squares on PrizePicks. But first, let's start off with what you should not be doing when looking for PrizePicks squares. For the love of God, please do not tell me you are scrolling the PrizePicks board, finding what's popular, clicking the last 5, seeing that it's all greened out in the last 5, and then hitting over. I promise this is a long-term losing strategy, and you need to stop doing this if you are. Also, if you are just blindly taking the overs on star players every single week, that's a good way to also lose yourself a ton of money. I've already mentioned to stop looking at the last 5, but lastly, if you are looking up any historical data for these player props, you need to stop immediately. The last 5, last 10, or how Lamar Jackson has played against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the last 10 years means absolutely nothing when it comes to the new game, the new matchup against this year's Pittsburgh Steelers. Even if you're looking up stuff like Patrick Mahomes going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, right? And you want to take the over on Patrick Mahomes passing yards because the Bengals are ranked 28th in pass yards giving up to QBs, I'm telling you, you're wasting your time, and I'm going to tell you why. What you need to be doing is scanning the sportsbook markets, odds, and projections, and use those as data points to compare back to PrizePicks to find the best possible value. If this is a new concept to you guys, I know I might sound crazy, because what I'm telling you to do is use sportsbooks to beat other sportsbooks. And yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. You are able to scan the sportsbook market and find where there is a book so far off from the market it becomes a profitable bet just from placing it. I think we can all agree that these sportsbooks are in the business of making money off their customers, so it's important for them to set their lines and odds as accurately as possible to do so. It's also true that these sportsbooks have multi-million-dollar algorithms and models taking into consideration everything that you think you know or can look up and more when setting these lines and odds. Believe me, they know about the last 5, last 10 game logs. They know about the matchup that they're going up against, the player rotations, the current weather status. All of that is baked into these lines and odds when they set them. The faster you realize you are not smarter than the sportsbooks, the faster you will start to win money on these apps. And now let me show you guys how to scan the sportsbook market to find the best possible value on PrizePicks and set yourself up for success. I actually use a website called Daily Grind Fantasy to quickly and efficiently scan the sportsbook market and compare it back to PrizePicks and other different DFS apps. So Daily Grind Fantasy actually pulls all of these lines and odds from sportsbooks and puts them into one place at one time for you to be able to easily compare these odds back to PrizePicks. And what's super clutch is that Daily Grind Fantasy on the back end will do all of the math and debigging of these sportsbooks lines to find the true fair odds percentage, also known as odds percent to hit, that these plays have, which is actually a very important percentage to know when selecting PrizePicks props for your slips. And my favorite thing about Daily Grind Fantasy is the fact that I wouldn't know that any of these profitable props even exist if it wasn't for this website, because my brain and my eyeballs are not constantly scanning the PrizePicks board or the sportsbooks, right? This data feed is consistent and updates every second for you to be able to find the best possible value when it hits the board. And as we know, these sportsbooks do not like losing money, so if there is an edge exposed on their sportsbooks, they're going to move as quick as they can to either bump or remove these props, so it makes it really easy for you to be able to quickly spot value and get these in before those bumps or they remove it. Now let's look a little deeper in this Karl Anthony Towns line and show you why this is good value when comparing to the rest of the sportsbooks. We can see that PrizePicks has this listed at 15.5 rebounds and assists, but if we scan the sportsbook market, we see DraftKings has it 16.5, 16.5, 15.5, 16.5, 16.5. So 4 sportsbooks have this one full higher rebound and assist, and then Flip has this at 15.5, but is juicing the over at 15.5 at minus 140. So based on the sportsbook market and where these lines and projections are at, the optimizer at Daily Grind Fantasy is telling you to take the over of 15.5 rebounds and assists, and it has almost a 56% chance to hit. And now I want to tell you guys why that percent odds to hit is so important, but first I need to tell you to stop playing two-man powers on PrizePicks. That is one of the worst slip types to actually play when you're trying to be a profitable sports bettor on this app. You should be playing 5 and 6 man flexes only on PrizePicks. And that's because when playing two-man powers on PrizePicks, you need to be right above 57.7% of the time on your individual legs in order to be profitable long-term playing that slip type. but 5 and 6 man flexes, you only need to be right 54.2% of the time in order to be profitable long-term playing those slip types. And since PrizePicks is a set payout platform, they do not typically change your payouts for taking overs or unders on specific player props. So in 5 and 6 man flexes, you are always going to get these individual legs at minus 119 odds and need to be right above 54.2%+. So yes, the goal is to find 5 or 6 player props that the sportsbooks are giving above a 54.2%+ chance to hit and get them in 5 or 6 man flexes together. And if we're being technical, when building out these slips, you don't have to have every single leg above 54.2%. You just need to make sure the average of all of these percentages that are going into your slips is going to be above that 54.2. Let's look at one more example. Jared Allen under 2.5 assists is what's being recommended on the PrizePicks Optimizer Daily Grind Fantasy with a 56.44% chance to hit. However, if we look across the sportsbooks, they all have this line at 2.5, but the difference is the odds we are getting it at on PrizePicks when comparing back to the rest of the sportsbook market, they all have average odds of minus 157 for Jared Allen to hit the under of 2.5 assists, so they are heavily favoring this, right? They believe this has a really good chance to hit the under, but PrizePicks in those 5 and 6 man flexes, remember, we're getting them at minus 119 odds no matter what for taking the over or the under. So finding this play at minus 119 odds when the entire sportsbook market is saying that this should be closer to minus 157, almost minus 160 is insane value. And to show you just how crazy that is, let's pretend we're betting this as a straight bet. A $100 wager at minus 119 odds would profit you $84. A $100 wager at the market average of minus 157 is only going to profit you $63. You would get an extra $21 in profit just by line comparing and finding where you get the best possible odds and playing it there. And over the long term, constantly getting the best possible odds and added extra payout, you are going to be a profitable sports bettor. And to sound even crazier, you can actually do this using AI. Daily Grind Fantasy has what's called the AI Slip Generator that is up over 2,000 plus units since it launched on 8/18 of 2023. That means if you are a $20 unit bettor, you would be up over $40,000 tailing the slips that this AI tool puts out. And what it does is it will use AI line comparing technology to scan the market just as I showed you before, and then build out full slips for you to tail on many different apps, including PrizePicks. It really doesn't get any easier than this. I will pop a video up over here, and this is exactly how you play a slip on PrizePicks from the AI Slip Generator. You click this Bet on PrizePicks button, and it will simply load up the slip into your account on PrizePicks. All you do is enter in the amount you want to play it for and hit submit, and you've locked in a long-term profitable slip. As I mentioned before, profitable betting is a speed game. These books do not want you to have an edge against them, so they will bump and remove these props as fast as possible using AI that is much faster than you and I to be able to spot this value and build out slips is as fast as it gets, and you can often beat the bumps and removals this way. Especially if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of time to sports bet throughout the day, sit there and stare at an odds screen to find the best possible value. It just takes you seconds to load up the AI tool, find the slips you want to tail, enter them in very quickly, and go on about your day, knowing and trusting that you are getting long-term profitable slips built by AI. If you guys want access to any of the tools at Daily Grind Fantasy, I will leave a link down in the description below. If you use code Dustin DGF13, you will get 25% off your very first month. And my last piece of advice for you implementing this profitable betting strategy is to manage your bankroll. Remember, you are playing 5 and 6 man parlays now. Not every slip is going to hit, but it's important that you are able to keep yourself in the fight if you go on a little bit of a losing streak. Remember, you are playing a 25x payout slip on those 6-leg flex slip types. So if you go 0 of 13 and you hit your next one, you are very profitable over that stretch. But if you have $500 in your PrizePicks account and you are placing $50 per slip, you're out of the race before you even get to that 13 slip mark, right? Then you're not going to reap the benefits of this strategy. If you have a $500 bankroll, you should only be playing maximum $5 on each slip you place on PrizePicks. That's the 1% rule that we go about here in the profitable betting industry, right? No more than 1% of your bankroll on each bet or slip. That's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and learned something. If you did, make sure you drop a like on the way out, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as we post sports betting content like this every single week.